Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to a huge morning in terms of news, with the big story being that Lewis Hamilton will miss this weekend's Sakhir Grand Prix after testing positive for COVID-19. Mercedes released a statement confirming the news earlier this morning, stating that Hamilton had woken Monday morning with mild symptoms and, despite returning a negative result on Sunday afternoon, was retested and that second test came back positive. The Brit is now obviously self-isolating in line with protocols and local authority guidelines, but will not race this weekend. Firstly then, obviously we wish Lewis Hamilton a speedy recovery and hopefully it only remains as mild symptoms, but obviously attention will now turn to who will replace him for this weekend's race. Mercedes has said that a replacement will be announced in due course, but it is believed, or I suppose really rumoured, that there are 3 drivers in the frame. Stoffel Vandoorne is the team's official reserve driver, and he was actually originally due to join the team in Bahrain this weekend anyway, and he is currently testing with the Mercedes Formula E team in Valencia, but that test comes to an end today. Of course, it's not under the circumstances I'd like to see him make an F1 comeback, but I would love to see Stoff get the chance, and you'd probably argue, given that he's been part of that team all year, he is their officially listed reserve driver and is available, that he is probably the favourite to fill in. Nico Hülkenberg's name has obviously been thrown into the mix as well. He has already filled in twice at Racing Point this year, once at 2 events for Sergio Perez and another for Lance Stroll. So he has driven 2020 machinery, and you could say he's driven the 2019 Mercedes as well. And to be fair to him, he has impressed whilst doing so perhaps Mercedes will give him the chance in Bahrain. And George Russell is another one that could be in line to fill in for Hamilton. After all, he is a Mercedes Junior, and he is pretty much tipped to end up in that car in the near future anyway, so why not give him one weekend and see how he handles being at the sharp end of the grid? In many ways, it kind of makes sense, but the issue with Russell is that it would push Williams into having to prepare for one of its reserves to step up, and as simple as that may sound, taking, for example, a Jack Aitken and throwing him into that car, the truth is that Williams will want to keep hold of him. It's not a likely scenario, but the team is only 3 points behind Haas in the championship, and with a new driver stepping in this weekend to replace Grosjean, more on that later, if we were to see a chaotic race, Russell could be the man to pick up a few points for the team. Like I say, perhaps unlikely, but that'll be on Williams' mind to a point. For me though, and not just because it's him, I do think Vandoorne will probably get that seat this weekend. Again, he is their reserve after all. He has also been around the garages for much of this season, and he will be available well in time for FP1 on Friday. But this is F1 in 2020, so who knows who it's going to be, but they are the 3 most likely contenders. And it is worth a very quick mention that although he is the team's simulator driver, Esteban Gutierrez does not currently have an active super license, so that all but rules him out for this weekend, so I'm going to say Vandoorne. Of course though, the most important thing is that Lewis Hamilton recovers, and it is worth noting that aside from mild symptoms, the Brit is otherwise fit and well, so hopefully he will be back in time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and again, get well soon, Lewis. That was the big story this morning, but it wasn't the only one, as Haas has finally confirmed that Nikita Mazepin will race for the team in 2020, confirming that news we've already pretty much known for weeks now, but it's always nice to get the official confirmation. Mazepin, who is, by the way, still mathematically in contention for the F2 title, has signed a deal with Haas that is described as multi-year. Team boss Gunther Steiner says he is delighted and excited to have Mazepin drive for the team next year, and added that the Russian has proven his credentials in recent seasons and has developed into a mature racer moving up through the junior ranks, notably most recently in the GP3 series where he finished runner-up in 2018, and obviously in Formula 2 over the past 2 seasons. Mazepin added to this by saying, "Becoming a Formula One driver is a lifelong dream come true. I really appreciate the trust being put in me by the whole of the team. I'm looking forward to starting our relationship together, and I'm naturally keen to continue to demonstrate my abilities after a strong Formula 2 season." Now, this announcement will not be a surprise, and it likely won't be a popular one. And I've said this before, personally think that there are better drivers out there who could fill that seat, and in some cases even bring cash and experience. Sergio Perez, for example. And whilst Callum Ilott has been impressive this year, when you think about it, it was never really likely that Haas was going to take on 2 Ferrari Juniors. But all that aside, I will, as I do for every driver, give him a fair chance before drawing any conclusions. Again, I do think there were better options, and perhaps if this decision was being made on talent alone, he wouldn't be in that seat. But the fact of the matter is, it isn't. Haas, by its own admission, is a team that is struggling to get through this year and needs cash to secure its long-term future in the sport, and quite frankly, whether people like it or not, this is the right choice for the team right now. Take the money, put it towards the 2022 car and go from there. My other concern though, just on the 2022 car, is that by taking 2 rookies at once, who's helping to develop that car? Where is the experienced feedback coming from? It's all well and good having the money to develop a car, but you need drivers there with experience to help with that. So I hope that doesn't hinder them too much, but it is just something worth bearing in mind. Anyway, and to be fair to Mazepin, actually, he has had a very good season in F2 this year. He currently sits third in the standings ahead of drivers who many consider to be big future stars, including Robert Schwartzman, Yuki Tsunoda, Christian Lundgaard and Guan Yu Zhou. And as already said, he is still mathematically in contention for the title. He might need a minor miracle to win it, but the fact of the matter is he's still in the fight, and basically in one of the strongest F2 fields we've ever seen, he's top 3 right now. What that means is that although money is probably the reason he's getting that seat at this moment in time, there is clearly talent there, so it's not all about the money. As I've often said about Lance Stroll, for example, you can't just walk up to a team and say, here's 10, 20, $30 million, can I have that seat please? You've got to have a super license, and you've got to have shown some sort of pedigree and some sort of speed, an ability to race a car. What I'm basically saying, and it may well fall on deaf ears, but what I'm saying is let's just give him a chance. He may well be absolutely terrible, but he could also surprise many of us, as in my view anyway, he has this year. And if you're wondering about the other seat, who will be his teammate, there's nothing official at time of recording, but it looks like that will be Mick Schumacher. And super quickly, before I go, Romain Grosjean is doing well following that horrific crash at the weekend. He has suffered burns to the back of his hands, but has no broken bones, which quite frankly is almost unbelievable. Again, it's just incredible he was able to walk away from that one. It is expected that he will be discharged from hospital at some point today, but Haas has already confirmed that he will not race this weekend. Instead, Pietro Fittipaldi will fill in for Grosjean at the Sakhir Grand Prix. It's not under the circumstances he or anybody would like, but what an opportunity for the young Brazilian, who is of course the grandson of double world champion Emerson Fittipaldi. So absolutely, good luck to Pietro this weekend, but more importantly, get well soon, Roman. We want to see you back for your final race in Abu Dhabi. That is it for this one then, but you can let me know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments section, and let me know who you think will get the call up to replace Lewis Hamilton this weekend. Now, I will be back later this week with another video, but in the meantime, don't forget that you can of course follow me over on social media, and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.